This is Sister Yapashna, House of Abba Yeshaya, back with another upload to 50 Shades of Femininity. Thank you to all the sisters who have been joining and listening in on these quiet wife talks. And for all of the positive feedback, I just want to say thank you, ladies. This week I want to talk about appreciation. I want to talk about how to develop a keen sense of appreciation for our husbands. And I'm going to start off with the assignment this time, which is for us to create a love booklet, or it's kind of like a husband gratitude journal. Okay? Every good wife should have a special eye toward how she sees her husband in a way where no one else sees him and appreciates him as no one else does. In order to appreciate a man for his true worth, okay, you have to know what that implies. We don't want to be shallow and some women are only inclined to appreciate superficial things like his status or his rank among the congregation, his honors in the community, his looks, his income. And that just simply cannot be the estimation of your ideal man, ladies, because those things can be here today and gone tomorrow. All of those things, even the looks. The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away if he so please. And it's a light thing for a Lord to make a poor man rich, or vice versa. So we should look for traits in his character that consists of his integrity, his dependability, his generosity, kindness. Is he charitable? Okay, when we appreciate his virtues, you help him become better. Consider his knowledge, his intellectual features, creative skills. If he has any gifts, okay, take note of small things that he does, like carrying the groceries or opening the car door. If he surprises you, if he does the dishes, if he gives you a phone call while he's out to check in. Okay, appreciate small jobs that he does around the house, or if he buys things, furniture, clothes, groceries. Appreciate the time he spends with his children. And like I mentioned, yes, these are duties that, these are things that he should do, but it's all about developing that keen sense of appreciation and sharpening that eye and that husband vision. Okay, so I want to talk a bit about how important it is to appreciate a man's occupation as well. His many hours of toil and effort away from home to provide a living for his family. That is something that we should never take for granted. And I think we all can take a lesson from the women of old, our foremothers, who appreciated a man if he only kept food on the table. Back in the days, a man had to build his own shelter and truly protect his family and grow his own food. And so survival was at the forefront. And not much was expected out of a man. His very existence was appreciated. And it was just extremely important to have that man. And we see that all throughout scriptures, especially I think of the book of Ruth, when thinking about how important it was to have that man, when Naomi lost her husband and her sons, she lost everything, and she's like, call my name Mara, because I'm bitter about this life. And so that's really a good book to read if you haven't read it. And so although our husbands no longer build their own home and shelter and grow their own food most of the time, he has to earn enough money to buy those things, along with necessities and just everyday toiletries. And man, it's hard out here, In addition to that, he has to pay for his children's education, books, and school supplies, and medical expenses, and they're paying income tax. They're taking money out of their check for all these different taxes: state tax, property tax, income tax, local government tax, federal tax. He's not just supporting his family. Hell, he's supporting school systems and highway systems and various, organizations. So if our husbands are successful in earning enough take-home money to pay and provide even the most basic necessities, he is worthy of appreciation. Just trying to make ends meet, and just the sacrifices that have to be made. Your appreciation may mean more to him than his paycheck, So express your appreciation daily and do it over and over, and instill that gratitude into the children. Okay, we have to bring to our children's attention that everything costs money, And if we grow tired of saying thank you over and over again, just think about him having to get up and go to work over and over again. And how it would make you feel if your husband came home and said, honey, thank you for cooking hot meals to put on our table, and for cleaning the house when I come home, having the house nice and fresh, and keeping yourself looking, nice and refreshed, and when I walk through the door, and just educating our children. How beautiful that would make you feel so good to be appreciated for doing the same thing that you have to get up and do every single day over and over again. It gives you that little motivation, okay? And so it's about loving your neighbor as yourself and doing to others what you would want done unto you, okay? It's got to start with somebody. So pay attention to these things that I have listed off, and note them in your love booklet as daily entries. It could be something so small, something just so small. Doesn't matter. Something he says, something he does, something you observe that he does, maybe even for himself, that you just appreciate, okay? And jot it down in the love booklets. It's going to truly help us to just see his better side and not pay too much attention to the flaws and the negative things, just looking to that better side. So now if you're feeling at a loss to finding anything to appreciate, and you don't want to be insincere in praising him for qualities that don't exist, so try thinking about things that he did maybe in the beginning of your relationship that attracted you to him in the first place. Try thinking on those things and expressing it to him. I remember when, or I just loved when we first met, how you used to, whatever, and have faith in his worth, okay? That character, have faith in that kindness and intelligence, and that it's in his genetic makeup as it is in all the children of the Most High. And I want to read to you something that a German writer named Goethe wrote. He said, if you treat a man as he is, he will stay as he is. But if you treat him as if he were what he ought to be, he will become that bigger and better man. When you have an unwavering faith, ladies, in his better side, you inspire him to live up to your conception of his ability. And remember, this is not by push or persuasion, but by your faith in his better side. Okay? Truly reshaping your mind, your thoughts, and thinking on these good things and writing them down and making it a point to not just accept him like we said in the last talk and have a dull eye toward his flaws, but sharpening also that appreciation for what his better side. All he needs is for you to suggest that his life does not do justice to his true character. And once he realizes you perceive his worth, he'll become anxious to prove to himself and to you that that's not a mistake. And before I leave off, I would like to share my testimony, and I'm going to be transparent and a bit personal because I'm very passionate about what I'm bringing to you, for the fact that I have witnessed this myself, and I know firsthand because I've been through it. And I know some might look and say or think I have it all together and things are perfect, but trust me, there was a time in my marriage where I truly and vividly remember when my husband, I'm just going to start off with when I first met my husband, okay? I prayed before I met him that the Most High would send me someone who was a man after his own heart. I prayed for certain qualities in this man, and in the physical as well, specific things that way I would know for a fact that when I saw him, this was going to be the man that the Most High was sending to me. So in my personal relationship, my personal prayer to the Most High, there were, things that I requested and asked the Most High for. And I'm sure these are things that the Most High was putting on my spirit to pray for in the first place, because the Most High knows the things that we have need of before we even ask of them. And he knows what and who is best for us. He is the, official orchestrator. He's the orchestrator and matchmaker. Okay, so I prayed, and when I met my husband, I met other guys in the faith, and I knew, nope, that's not him. But when I met my husband, I knew right away, this is the prayer. This is exactly what I prayed for, based off of outward qualities, right? But also, there were spiritual things that I asked the Most High for, which on the spiritual side, I'll share with you, it was simply let him be a man after your own heart. And I knew that my husband, one of the things that I loved was he was about his Father's business. He knew the word, he was knowledgeable, and he I saw that he was good to lead and good to guide and good to teach. Okay, but one of the things that was something I had to really look past was that he didn't have a job. He was receiving unemployment. And for me, that was a big deal, because in the world, I was like, I was like, look, you got to have some money. Like, that was how I was, because I was brought up with that mindset. You could do bad by yourself. Don't you go dating no broke man, that whole thing. So I was truly trying to, you know, show the Most High that I had faith that He could do whatever to lift us up out of any financial burdens or struggles we were going to face, and that I was no longer that person anymore. I was a changed being, born again, and just truly looking for those, not being superficial or shallow, but just truly looking for the qualities in a person that truly matter, and so my husband was without a job for 2 years when we met because he could not find work. The unemployment ran out. He couldn't find work. He was busting his behind to put in applications. 2 years felt like 40 years in the wilderness, y'all. And we really faced some hard times when we met, like in the beginning of our marriage. But I believed in his better side. I saw and I valued the man that he was, like his faith and his drive, okay? Because he had drive and he was a man of integrity, and I saw that. And, he was well educated, and so I said, I'm going to show my faith. And even though we had our struggles, I stayed by his side, and I had errors in my ways because I was young, and there's things that I would love to have done different if I could do it over. But overall, I stuck it out. And I bring this up because my husband did finally find work, but by then the car had already been repossessed. We lost our apartment. We were just really struggling and relying on I was back to relying on government assistance when I got married because we needed food and housing and all of that stuff, and dealing with all the red tape that comes with trying to get crumbs from the government. And so he had to catch 2 buses to work. Okay, he had to wake up at 4 a.m. just to get to work on time. He had to walk all the way down to the first bus to take it to the parking ride and take that bus all the way to downtown to work. And that was like whether it was raining or what. Like sometimes he had to show up at work soaking wet. And even getting groceries. I remember my husband having to take that long walk up to the bus stop to take it to the grocery store and carry all those groceries back on the bus and walk them all the way home because the bus stop wasn't like right at the corner. It was far down. You had to cross the railroad tracks and everything just to get there. And I remember him telling me this story about him walking to work one morning, and a car rode past him and splashed him with all this water because it was raining, and then he falls in the mud. Mind you, by this time, my husband's shoes, the soles of his shoes were so worn out that he had holes at the bottom of his shoes, so his socks would be soaking wet because that was his only pair of shoes that he had. And he spent his last, I remember, on our daughter for school supplies. And so he was, I remember him telling me when he fell in the mud, he just like, at that point, it was like, I can't take it no more. Like, Most High, come on, like, have mercy, look upon me and show pity to me, and that's at that point where the Most High, the scriptures say in Sirach 2 that we will be increased at our last end. And so that's when the Most High, started sending forth little blessings here and there, and getting us out of that situation. But keep in mind that acceptable men are tried through the furnace of adversity. So we're going to have to suffer certain afflictions and overcome and prove ourselves to be worthy vessels, and that we're not going to crack, okay, when we're being tried in that fire. And so I just had to add that in there. But I just wanted to share that because as you concentrate on a man's better side, you know, his faults become insignificant. And it really, really helps you to grow in deepening your love toward your husband, and builds him, you know, and strengthens him and gives him that motivation and incentive to just push forward. You know that, hey, let me tell you, for years in my marriage, this is something else. I knew that I loved my husband because we overcame so much together. Like I was just sharing, you know, but I wasn't sure if I was in love. You know, it just wasn't there. I didn't feel the chemistry, the spark, like, and I was just like, you know, hey, maybe this is it. Maybe I watched too many movies and I'm thinking like love is supposed to be one thing, and it's just not. You know, this is really what real love is, you know, right? But when I started practicing true acceptance and appreciation, like I said, my love started to grow, and it still is growing, and it's deepening in this very magical way. And I know that the same is true for him, because he's grown in grace and in virtue and in tenderness toward me. And there was a time even where I hated my husband. I could not stand him. I couldn't stand him, and I couldn't understand him. And man, I thank the Most High that we've stuck it out through all these different tests and trials, and our marriage is like fine wine. I lie to you not. By applying these things that I'm sharing with you, sisters, like, as our marriage continues on, it just grows. As it ages, it grows better and better. Okay, so you have to trust the process. And I know that it's hard and times get tough, but put in the work, okay? Because the best love is the one that you had to break a sweat for. When you had to, the kind of love you had to build with your very hands, with your blood, sweat, and tears, okay? And like I mentioned in a post, love is a garden, and it takes time, and you grow and he grows, and y'all water each other and continue to flourish as the Most High sends forth that increase in your marriage. And this is where you have to start. And I'm telling you, I would pray to the Most High, please, Father, I want to love my husband. Help me to love this man. Because I'm telling y'all, I could not, oh man, I really got to a point where I was like, oh, I hate him. And I know that it works because I'm telling you, just the other day, my husband was walking. I was sitting in the car, and he was walking past, putting something in the trunk, and it was breathtaking. And I was just like thinking to myself, man, I love this man. And when I think back at how far I've come, how much I've grown, I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful for the woman that I've grown into be, and how much my heart has softened and is truly, I'm truly feeling blessed in my marriage, and like I'm in love. I'm here. I've reached that place where I'm in love with my husband. And not a lot of people can say that in their marriages. And so I don't take it for granted, and I continue to work daily in the things that I'm sharing with you, so that my love just continues to deepen and our marriage continues to thrive. And I want the same for you. And so I really pray that me sharing my story is helpful to sisters. And I pray that by seeing, this isn't just me talking. This is something that I've been through in my personal life experience. And I know that it works, okay? It will increase your faith, because I know that marriage can be very trying and it can be very hard. So I'm going to wrap it up here, and we'll meet again at 50 Shades of Femininity with our next topic of admire. We're going to talk about admiration. All right. Thank you, and shalom.